Did you hide the thing? Did you hide the thing?
Welcome everyone. Welcome to the Corangamite Shire Council meeting for November. So my name's Andrew Mason, I'm the CEO. I'm chairing the meeting because under Local Government Act I'm required to until a mayor is elected. So I'd like to welcome all of our councillors. We've got our Councillor Jamie Vogels, Councillor Kate Macon, Councillor Joe Beard, Councillor Ruth Gastrain, Councillor Laurie Hickey, Councillor Geraldine Canady, and Councillor Nick Cole, and our Director of Corporate and Community Services, David Ray, and our Director of Works and Services, Brooke Love, and Director of Sustainable Development, Justine Lindley. So, councillors, the first item on the agenda is the prayer. So we ask for guidance and blessing on this council. May the true needs and well-being of our communities be our concern. Help us who serve as leaders to remember that all of our decisions are made in the best interest of the people, culture and environment of the Corangamite Shire. Amen.
Amen.
An acknowledgement of country. We acknowledge the traditional owners of the land around Corangamite Shire, the Eastern Maar and Wathaurong people. We pay our respects to elders, Aboriginal elders and people past and present. Apologies, we don't have any apologies for tonight's meeting and there have been no declarations of conflict of interest. Councillors, item 5 is the confirmation of the minutes. A copy of the minutes have been circulated. Can I have a councillor to move those minutes? Councillor Macon and a seconder. All those in favour? Carried. So the first item on the agenda is the mayoral term of office. So under the Local Government Act, council is required to before electing a mayor or deputy mayor, they must elect or decide on the mayoral term. This can be for 1 year or 2 years. So the recommendation before council is that council set the mayoral term. Can I have a councillor to move that motion? Councillor Beard. Can I have a seconder for that motion? Councillor Macon. Does anyone have any? Does anyone want to speak to that item or have any questions?
Through you, Mr. CEO, I'm happy to move the recommendation with the length of the mayoral term be a period of 1 year.
Yep. And
the scheduled meeting of council meeting, which is item number 2, be in November 2022.
Thank you. Sorry, and Councillor Macon, I probably should have confirmed that before you seconded it. Jimmy, you're okay with that? That's fine. All right. Are there any questions, issues? Does anyone want to speak to it? No. Can I have all those in favour? So that item is carried. So the next item is 6.2 is the election of the mayor. The council must elect the mayor under the Local Government Act. The election must be via show of hands and an absolute majority achieved. The process is outlined in the paper, so I'm not planning on talking to that. So I will move straight to the election. I will call for nominations for the position of mayor for Corangamite Shire. Councillor Beard.
Through you, Mr. CEO, I'd like to nominate Councillor Ruth Gastrain as mayor.
And do you accept that, Councillor Gastrain?
I do, Mr. CEO. Thank you, Councillor Beard.
Do I have a seconder for that nomination? Councillor Canady. Are there any further nominations? No. So, given that there have been no further nominations, we've got the one nomination from Councillor Gastrain. I declare that Councillor Gastrain is elected Mayor of Corangamite Shire. Congratulations.
Thank you, Mr. Beard. Thank you to councillors for your confidence in my ability to continue in the role as Mayor, and I certainly really appreciate your support. I think over the last 12 months in particular, we've become a very coherent and collaborative group of councillors. We don't always see eye to eye. We have very different backgrounds and diverse opinions, but I'm just so pleased that we're able to deal with the issues that come before us with great respect and certainly appreciate your confidence in me for the next 12 months, and I certainly look forward to working with you. As I spoke last meeting at our annual report, the last 12 months has been incredibly hectic for our organisation, and without a doubt, with the funding that's been made available to us through state and federal government, it's going to continue to be a very, very busy 12 months. So I'm certainly looking forward to working with you for good outcomes for Corangamite Shire. So thank you to you, and also thank you to our CEO, our senior officers group, and in fact the staff right across Corangamite Shire. We're certainly very, very blessed to have such good staff that carry out the directions that we make through our council plan and our budget. So thank you to them for their support too. So moving along to the election of Deputy Mayor 6.3, Mr Mason, can you introduce this item please?
Thank you through you, Mayor. The election of the Deputy Mayor follows the same process and governance rules as for the election of the Mayor. Having a Deputy Mayor is not a mandatory requirement under the Act, unlike the Mayor, but it has been the practice for the last couple of years that Corangamite Shire has had a Deputy Mayor. So the recommendation is that Council proceed to elect a Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Mr Mason. Councillors, there's a recommendation. Someone like to nominate for Deputy Mayor? Make a nomination. Councillor Hickey.
Thanks, Mayor. I'd like to nominate Councillor Kennedy for Deputy Mayor for a period of 1 year.
Thank you. Councillor Kennedy, do you accept the nomination?
Yes, I do accept that nomination. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there a seconder? Councillor Beard. Thank you. Are there further nominations, councillors? If not, we'll put that to the vote. All those in favour? Carried. Thank you. Well done, Councillor Kennedy. Congratulations, new Deputy Mayor. Thank you. We have no deputations or presentations this evening, Mr Mason, so we move to committee reports.
Thank you through you, Mayor. Council has a number of committees that perform a variety of different roles. These roles are important in making sure that we have good governance practices in these committees as an information conduit back into Council from what's happening on those committees and as a way of providing advocacy and influence. Council is required to nominate councillors to sit on these committees. As councillors would be aware, we discussed this matter at a workshop, and the recommendation before Council reflects the outcome of these discussions, and so it's recommended that Council adopt the appointment of committees as set out in the recommendation.
Thank you, Mr Mason. Councillors, someone like to move the recommendation electing the designated councillors to the committees? Thank you, Councillor Cole. Is there a seconder? Councillor Macon, thank you. Is there any further comment? Councillor Cole, did you wish to comment to this item?
Further comment?
Thank you. Councillor Macon.
Thank you, and through you, Madam Mayor, I'd just like to say that I've quite enjoyed the past 12 months of sitting on the committees that I've sat on, and I think everyone else has been the same. It's been a great learning as to what committees are doing and what they're up to and how they work within our community. So I'm looking forward to the next 12 months and seeing what we can achieve in the next 12 months. So thank you, and through you, Madam Mayor.
Thanks, Councillor Macon. If there's no further comments, I'll put it to a vote. All in favour? Carried. We're moving on to planning reports. Item 9.1 is a planning permit application, PP 2021-007, the use and development of land for domestic animal husbandry, dog breeding at 22 Pett Street, Skipton. Ms Linley.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Mayor. Sorry, I think the dogs have caught my breath. At the request of the applicant, we would like to propose that this matter be deferred. There is further information yet to be gleaned from the applicant for this particular application.
Thank you, Ms Linley. Councillors, we'll need to ratify the deferrals. I need someone to move that this item be deferred. Someone like to move it? Councillor Kennedy, seconded Councillor Hickey. All in favour? Carried. Item 9.2 is Victoria's Big Housing Build proposed residential development at 80 Camperdown, Cobden Road, Camperdown, Corangamite Shire submission to this application. Ms Linley.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Similar to the previous planning matter, the proponent for the big housing build has also approached Council proposing to alter and amend their planning application. So similarly, we're asking that this matter be deferred.
Thank you, Ms Linley. Councillors, someone happy to move a deferral? Councillor Macon, Councillor Hickey. No further comment, we'll put it to a vote. All in favour? Carried. Okay, the up to officers' reports. 10.1 is the Domestic Animal Management Plan 2021 to 2025. Ms Linley.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The Domestic Animals Act 1994 requires Council prepare a domestic animal management plan for a 4-year period. The DAMP outlines Council's approach to supporting responsible pet ownership and compliance with the domestic animal regulations and laws. The current plan expires on the 1st of December 2021, so in a week's time. Therefore, this report is before Council for consideration to not only ensure compliance with the Act, but to continue to provide these services to the community. Extensive community consultation has occurred throughout the year and several adjustments are proposed as a direct result. The officer's recommendation is before you. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Ms Linley. Councillors, recommendation that we adopt this domestic animal management plan. Someone like to move the motion? Councillor Vogels and Councillor Beard. Thank you. Councillor Vogels, would you like to speak to this?
Thank you, through you, Madam Mayor. The domestic animal management plan, the key objective of this DAMP is to outline Council's approach to supporting responsible pet ownership and compliance with the domestic animal regulations and laws, ensuring that people comply with the registration and identification of dogs and cats, and minimising the potential for dogs and cats to cause a nuisance.
Thank you. Thanks, Councillor Vogels. Councillor Beard, do you have anything to add?
Not too much further to add, but I will just make note and thank the submissions that we received. I mean, these plans are great, but it's even better when we have submissions from our public which help address concerns of people that have raised issues in the past. So it's great that people have committed some of their time to helping us out to formulate this plan. And certainly that also helps inform the actions to come out of that management plan. So more than happy to second that and concur with Councillor Vogel's comments.
Thank you, Councillor Beard. Councillors, is there anything further? We'll put it to a vote. All in favour? That's carried. Now we have several policies to deal with this evening. The first one is the Animals Policy, November 2021. Ms Linley.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This report recommends that Council adopt the Animals Policy dated November 2021 and revokes the Animals Policy dated February 2017. The policy supports Council's Local Law 2015 and outlines to the community the restrictions that will be placed on the ownership of animals to protect animal welfare and also the amenity of urban and rural areas. This will be achieved by limiting the number and type of animals that can be kept, and this includes poultry, while allowing for fair and reasonable use of land. This policy also protects the welfare of animals by setting the standard of housing used for animal confinement. The policy changes are before you, Madam Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms Linley. Councillors, someone prepared to move the motion? Thank you, Councillor Hickey. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Vogels, thank you. Councillor Hickey, did you want to speak to this?
No, nothing, just procedural.
Thank you. Councillor Vogels, anything to add?
No, I just will add that there's a fair bit devoted to the use of or the control of poultry, which is a relief to those who are suffering from anatophobia, which is the fear that somewhere, somehow, a duck is watching you. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Vogels. I think it is important that we do focus on poultry. I know that there's been a number of complaints in the last 12 months, particularly around roosters being kept in urban areas. So it's good to see that that's going to be controlled. Is there anything further, councillors? All in favour? Carried. Item 10.3 is the open-air burning policy. Ms Lindley, you're having a busy evening.
On the home stretch, Madam Mayor. This report recommends that Council adopt the open-air burning policy dated November 2021 and revokes the open-air burning policy dated February 2017. This particular policy informs Council's local laws 2015 and outlines to the community the types of issues and considerations that may be associated with open-air burning. It recognises that open-air burning has the potential to impact on both residents and the environment within the Corangamite Shire. Council has a responsibility to reduce the potential for open-air burning to negatively affect residents and the environment by limiting the generation of offensive or injurious odour or smoke, through regulating the timing and the size of fires and restricting the type of materials that can be burnt. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Ms Lindley. Councillors, recommendation that the previous policy be revoked and we adopt the new policy. Someone like to move that? Councillor Canady, do I have a seconder? Councillor Cole. Councillor Canady, did you want to speak to this item?
It's procedural, really, and encompassing the necessary updates to keep the policy current. It's mainly there to keep that, to minimise the negative effects on the neighbours and the environment and to keep us safe. But I think we do need to be very clear about regulation around open-air burning and the associated risks. And I encourage community members to seek advice from local laws officers and to familiarise themselves with this policy before lighting any outdoor fires. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thanks, Councillor Canady. Councillor Cole?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Open-air burning's a good way of disposing of excess litter and rubbish, grass and build-up, but it's got to be done responsibly. And this is a good way of doing it, making sure it's safe for the community and safe for the environment. Because we live in a fire-prone area, so it's got to be done responsibly. So nothing further.
Thank you, Councillor Cole. Councillors, anything further? All those in favour? Carried. Item 10.4 is the use of council land policy, November 2021. Thank you, Ms Lindley.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and this is the lucky last of these policies that are required for review on a 4-yearly basis and also relate to our council local law. So this report recommends that Council adopt the use of council land policy dated November 2021 and revoke the use of council land policy dated March 2017. It informs Council's local laws 2015 and outlines to the community the types of issues that may be associated with the use of council land and what factors will be considered when an application is made to obtain a permit to use council land. The unauthorised use of council land can pose a significant risk to council and the community, either authorised or unauthorised, and it tends to occur in locations where properties are in private ownership, where they adjoin council land. They can also be subject to low maintenance regimes or appear to be minimally used. So they're areas such as road reserves and footpaths. This particular policy provides very valuable guidance to officers in the community relating to grazing and fences on land, use of footpaths in urban areas, street parties, festivals, processions, community markets and road closures, and I think it'll be great to see these things come back after 2 years, and the process for obtaining permits. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Ms Lindley. Councillors, someone happy to move this motion, please? Thank you, Councillor Hickey. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Macon. Thank you. Councillor Hickey, did you want to speak to this?
Thanks, Mayor. Whilst this is mostly procedural, it is very important to remind ourselves that the policy is in place to protect our community assets by being good neighbours and by being responsible members of the community. I mean, it would mean that we are a lot more harmonious. It doesn't take very much for neighbours to turn on neighbours, so by adopting this policy and by looking at following the policy, I think it's a very good example of how we can work cohesively together. Thanks.
Thanks, Councillor Hickey. Councillor Macon.
Thank you. Through you, Madam Mayor. I'm quite happy to support this recommendation, and hopefully this policy will get much used for all the street parties and community markets that we'll have in the coming coming years, because I tell you what, I think the whole community is quite ready for a whole street party. So thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Macon. Nothing further, councillors, to vote. All in favour? Carried. Item 10.5 is the slurry sealing contract 2021-22. Ms Love, would you introduce this item, please?
Through you, Madam Mayor. Councillors, this report seeks to award a contract for slurry sealing of various local roads across the Shire. Following on from 2019-20 and 2020-2021 programs, it's proposed that the slurry sealing treatment be trialled again on further selected road segments across the Shire, which have been identified as having minor rutting or shape loss, but don't currently require a rehabilitation or strengthening works. The expectation is that the condition of the treated roads would be preserved further and rideability of the roads improved. Council has undertaken a competitive tender process to recruit a experienced contractor to undertake the slurry seal contract. 2 tenders were received, both from reputable and pre-qualified contractors for road surfacing works with Vic Roads. The evaluation of the tenders saw the lowest tender price being from Colas Solutions, which was within Council's budget. It is therefore considered that the best overall value for Council, based on their experience and price, is to award the contract to Colas Solutions. And it's also recommended that Council use the savings from within the budget to reallocate to other roads maintenance activities to ensure that we continue to meet the Roads to Recovery funding requirements. The recommendation is before you.
Thank you, Ms Love. Councillors, there's recommendation around this contract. Would someone like to move the recommendation? Thank you, Councillor Kennedy. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Beard. Councillor Kennedy, would you like to speak to this item?
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and through you. Yes, I certainly support the recommendation before us. I have full confidence in the way these tenders are assessed. I know that the officers do go to a lot of trouble to work through these with care. So I see with Colas Solutions that tender came in under budget. So we've got an extra $22,000 to deal with, and the recommendation is that would be put to road maintenance activities for the Roads to Recovery funding requirements. So I'm fully supportive of that. I think that's a prudent way to deal with that money. So it should ensure that we meet the requirements for the Roads to Recovery funding. So I'm more than supportive of that. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Kennedy. Councillor Beard.
Yes, through you, Madam Mayor. This is a great example of our asset management program at its best, in the fact that there's been a product that was a new product, that it was tested, it's been trialled, and it's come out with some really good outcomes. So once again, we're able to implement that on some further roads, which is a really good outcome because we're not having to do total rehabilitations if we don't need to. So it's good value for money, and the fact that this particular contract or contractor has come in under budget is a great outcome when you look at how our procurement policy plays out. So a very good outcome, and even better the fact that we know that we can back this type of product, being a slurry seal. It'd be good to know if regional roads were able to do those sort of same things that we do, where we test our assets after trialling them. So it's a credit to the Works Department on getting it to this point.
Thank you, Councillor Beard. Councillors, is there anything further on this item? Put it to vote. All in favour? It's carried. Item 10.6, Local Roads and Community Infrastructure Funding Phase 3. Ms Love.
Thank you, and through you, Madam Mayor. Corangamite Shire will receive $4.57 million under the Local Roads and Community Infrastructure Fund as a direct allocation from the federal government. The funding is available for local roads and community infrastructure projects that involve construction, maintenance and/or improvements to council-owned assets that are generally accessible to the public. 16 projects have been identified across the Shire These projects have been nominated following an assessment of their eligibility to meet the program guidelines, initiatives and direction identified in Council's plan 21 to 25, and also Council's forward capital and operating projects. The criteria is designed to meet the requirements of the LRCI funding guidelines, as well as focus on Council's, meet Council's focus on economic growth and development. Following endorsement of the project list, should Council endorse it this evening, a work schedule nominating the projects for the funding under the program will be submitted to the Government Department for their approval. And then we can get on with delivering for our community. Councillors, the recommendation is before you.
Thank you, Ms Love. Councillors, someone like to move this recommendation? Thank you, Councillor Beard. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Cole. Councillor Beard.
Thank you, and through you, Madam Mayor. First and foremost, I'm going to thank our local member, the Honourable Dan Tehan, who always goes into bat for us at a federal level. And obviously we've been provided this big batch of money again, which really does help us to tick off some projects that we would love to do at council, but may not often have the funding to be able to see them through. Looking at the project list, a couple of examples are a footpath that we've been trying for multiple years to get achieved in Timburn, which is the Timburn-Curtivale Road footpath. And I think, Mayor, you can agree with me, that's one that we would have loved to have done multiple years ago, but weren't able to attract the support from the community there. So this will be one of those big wins for that community. The other thing is completing stage 2 of the Cobden Streetscape, which is going to be vital to finishing off that project. I could go through each of the projects, but there's some really incredible outcomes are going to be achieved because of this funding, which is probably a silver lining. I think you can all agree to COVID and the implications of COVID and the impacts, but we really do appreciate this funding when it comes. So I think a reminder that we're very thankful for that.
Thank you, Councillor Beard. Councillor Cole.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Same as Councillor Beard, congratulate Federal Minister Dan Tehan and some very worthy projects, as mentioned, the statewide flood survey study for up north and along the Emu Creek, which has caused problems before, and all worthy projects are going to enhance our way of living in the Shire. Congratulations.
Thank you, Councillor Cole. Councillors, anything further? No, it just goes to show how busy our works and assets teams are going to be for the next 12 months, without a doubt. I'll put that to a vote. All in favour? It's carried. Item 10.7 is the quick response grant allocation for November, and Ms. Lilly.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This report is to consider November allocation of funds as part of the quick response grants appropriations. Applications for this program are considered as they're received and assessed against criteria including alignment with the council plan, benefit to the community and eligible expenditure. The annual budget allocation for the program is $17,500. Applications have been received from the Camperdown First Trials for the replacement of the entrance sign, the Camperdown Theatre Company for Camperdown Community Cards, the Lions Club of Camperdown for Skin Check Van Visit, Timburn and District Health Committee for Leadership Grants Festival each day, and Leslie Manor CFO for their annual community event.
Thank you, Ms. Lilly. Thank you, Ms. Lilly. Councillors, I'd like to move this recommendation. Councillor Hickey, and seconder, and Kennedy. Councillor Hickey.
Thank you, Mayor. Some of them just quick response grants,
And just remind everybody else that there's still some considerable amount of money, over half what's allocated, still in the budget. So if you need help from quick response grants, please get your applications in.
Thank you, Councillor Hickey. Councillor Kennedy, did you have anything further?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I think Councillor Hickey said just about everything here, but I noted that all these applications were either practical or productive, and I just think it's wonderful that these grants are available so easily, so freely for these community groups to make use of. So there's always great outcomes from these. Thank you.
I certainly do. I know that these committees that have been given these funds in the past have been very grateful for them, and it's good to see that these applications are right across the Shire. So once again, encourage people to get their applications in if they have a need for some additional funds. I'll put that to a vote, councillors. All in favour? Carried. Item 11 is other business. Does anyone have any other business they'd like to bring to the table? Councillor Hickey?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I'd just like to explain the facial hair growth that I've got on my face at the moment as part of the Movember Foundation that has been going for the last 7 years. I think it might be 8 years, and it's all to do with raising awareness of men's health. And so, by having somewhat ugly look on the face, it does help us make reference and discuss prostate cancer and testicular cancer, mental health, men's suicide, those sorts of things. And part of the program is to aim at helping men prevent to die. And I, for one, would certainly like to see my son grow up in a world where prostate and testicular cancer were things of the past, and regular health checks were not so much unique, but the norm of the day. So thank you for indulging.
Thank you, Councillor Hickey. Mr CEO, has there been any questions raised online?
No.
No,
Thank
you.
Madam Mayor.
We have nobody in the gallery with us. We do have a confidential item to discuss, so I'll call for a motion to suspend standing orders, please. Councillor Macon, seconded by Councillor Beard. Thank you. All in favour? Thank you. We'll suspend standing orders, and can thank you, councillors, and thank those that have joined us online. Thank you. Good evening. Thank you.